Good morning, good afternoon. It is Balak or Pinchas, those taking score. It's also show us tamuz tomorrow, but don't fast, wait till Sunday, letting you know. So a lot of interesting things. There's one, overlap. The end of Balak and beginning of Pinchas talks about Pinchas. And Pinchas was the ultimate kanai, the ultimate zealot, who kind of does something that he wasn't supposed to do, does something he wasn't required to do, and the people made fun of him, they embarrassed him. B'tchila, it says that they mevazanoso reisim ben puti pitem of imo, that Elazar married his father. Elazar married Yisro's daughter. So when he kills Zimri, he kills Cosby, the people B'tchila started and they embarrassed him. They were saying how, what's this guy doing? There's no reason for him to do it. Moshe didn't do anything. No one's making a big deal. Why is Pinchas doing this? And they attributed it must be that, look at his grandfather, Yisro, must be that this anger that he has, that he got from Midian. The Midyanim are horrible people. So Pinchas probably did this wrong thing. He's terrible. And the Torah has to go out of its way and say, no, Pinchas Belazar ben Aaron HaKohen, that you're right, he came from, he had ties from Midian, but he came from Aaron HaKohen. And Aaron HaKohen was the ultimate chesed, the ultimate person who's trying to be makar of the people and get people to do what's right. Pinchas gets this from Abraham. Abraham was the ultimate zealot. And the question is, where do we see this? So the Pri Tzaddik says that look at Abraham. His whole life, he's trying to be makar of people. He's trying to take care of people. He's setting up camp in the desert, helping wherever he can. And he does, the ultimate suicide mission. He goes up against the 4 kings who just beat up the 5 kings. So Abraham was someone who acted below cheshbon. He acted without cheshbon. Abraham, whose whole life stands for people, with people, chesed for people, and he can't understand this milchama. Now, think about it, it's the first time you have the word milchama really in the Torah. The first major battle in the Torah was the 4 against the 5 kings. And Abraham sees, how could this be? That you have people that want to kill other people just for money, just for kavod, and he just has to go to war. Without asking people, he just takes the few people he has, whether it's 318 or just Eliezer, and boom, he just goes to Muhammad. So this is the ultimate sacrifice. And this is what Pinchas does. It burns in him so much. Moshe didn't have this burning in him. Nowhere in the Torah does it say you're supposed to kill yourself over this. Zimri himself wasn't chayiv misa. Yibael Aramis, you're not chayiv misa. But Pinchas saw that all the people now with these women, it's going to lead to avodah zarah. He can't have this, and this kanais that he has, not only does it stop him from greatness, but it gets him to be a kohen. And usually we know that the law is a kohen kills someone, you can't do avodah, you can't do birchas kohanim. Pinchas the other way around. Pinchas actually does an act of chesed that caused him to be a kohen. He wasn't supposed to be a kohen, but this act to get the people to stop doing the wrong thing, to bring tshuva into their lives, Pinchas, through killing someone, becomes a kohen. Brings an interesting story that some of you know, some of you don't know, but May 5th, 1950, the famous story, you can look it up actually if you Google Daily News, Pinchas stolper, May 6, 1950. See the front page of the Daily News, 70 years ago, 72 years ago, that the German soccer team came to New York, and they're doing some kind of exhibition. And at the press conference at City Hall, there were protesters, and a couple of yeshiva students were arrested. The college students were arrested for throwing tomatoes, I think they hit the mayor, they hit one of the coaches of the soccer team, and they arrested 3 yeshiva people, three college kids, and they had arrested them, put them in jail for different offenses, and they had to post bail. It's a whole story. And one of them was Pinchas stolper, who just died 2 months ago, literally 2 months ago. who ran the OU. He started NCSY. But the story goes that when Rabbi Hutner was reading the article in the newspaper, he told his people, we have to get this kid into Chaim Berlin. We have to get him to be part of this yeshiva. And that's Kachayim. He became one of the great Talmidim of Rav Hutner. Ad Kedei Kach, some of the Bachar Yitzchak, some of the volumes Rabbi Stolper translated into English, because my Charus and I, that's how we kind of learned the past few years, is a little bit of the English Pachas. It's very difficult to learn Pachas Yitzchak. So we had the English one. So we see this kanais that sometimes in a bad way it's horrible, but sometimes the kanais is a good way. By saying, who are these Germans? They just a few years after World War II were giving them kavod to go play soccer in New York. And this is something that Rav Hutner kind of looked at. And this is something that sometimes you have kanais comes from a bad place, but sometimes you have this zealousness come from a good place. On the other hand, a lot of times people think, well, it's not me, and I'm not a hot-blooded person, I'm not that passionate about Torah, I'm not that passionate about things. Well, there's another part in Parshas Pinchas that tells us to be consistent. In Parshas Pinchas, we have all the musafim. But one musaf, it says to watch out, to be careful with, tishmeru li. And that's not even a musaf, that's the tamid. So twice a day, they have a tamid in the morning and the afternoon. And the Torah says tishmeru li. And the Gemara in Erechin says that, it says tishmeru here, mishmeres by Pesach and Mitzrayim. They're supposed to check 4 days the karban tamid, make sure that they have no mum. You keep them in the special lishkas, and you keep lishkas atlam. You keep these tamids for a few days, and each day you check. So 4 days you have a checking period. The only time it has this watching period is by the tamid. There's no special mitzvah, before Sukkot. There's gonna be dozens of kvasim. Check those. Karban Pesach. Check. No. It's just the tamid we have to check 2 times a day. So the tamid stands for consistency. No matter what day it is, whether it's Yom Kippur, whether it's some other day in July, some day in June, it's Rosh Hashanah, every day, morning, afternoon. Shabbos, morning, afternoon. Chag, morning, afternoon. This consistency that we're supposed to have. So even if this person doesn't have this kanais like a Pinchas or these great things that maybe someone else does, the best that we could do, perhaps, or even better, is to be consistent. Learning every day, davening every day seriously, chesed every day, tzedakah every day, even small things that you don't even see the great benefit. If you keep at it, you get to see a benefit from it. And Rav Wolbe in the Ali Shor in Shari Musar talks about this. A lot of times you start a habit, let's say a diet. After a week, you don't see much changes, you give up. Exercise. You're running every day, after a couple of days, you don't see much change. And this leads you to kind of give up. And the point of being consistent is not to give up. Small things do make a difference. And after the long period, you actually do see the difference. Shabbat Shalom.